John Penaloza of Rockport Stuff joins us once again, and John, we really kind of want to know what the reaction is from the townies regarding the kerfuffle with the Rockport Fire Department.
Oh my gosh. So I've never had a more one-sided poll, for instance, in Rockport Stuff than regarding the issues with the fire department, right? So as you guys have probably talked about last week, the volunteer fire department tendered a letter to the Board of Selectmen asking that the emergency services director position be put on suspension or be eliminated, and that Captain Doyle be reinstated to his position in leadership of the fire department. And I basically laid out those two extremes on this poll because the fire department's requests weren't met, that the fire department would basically resign as a whole last Friday.
The all-volunteer.
The all-volunteer fire department that's been around forever, right, in Rockport. I mean, generations. And basically, that was averted with a meeting that the selectmen had by moving that agenda item to Tuesday. We put up a poll with those options in the group, and I don't think I've ever had more people A, respond to a poll, or B, the poll be more one-sided than this. So there were a total of 4 people supporting the town's position to accept the resignations and to look for Gloucester to provide temporary fire support until this was worked out or the firemen replaced. On the other end, there were almost 400 replies in favor of the Rockport Fire Department and asking that the emergency services directorship position be eliminated.
Wow.
So
no recount necessary, John.
No recount necessary.
Yeah.
It was overwhelming support for the fire department, everything they do, everything the volunteers have done. And tacitly, it's kind of a rejection of this growth of bureaucracy in Rockport, right? Because Rockport's always been a town that has a character of, look, we're small, but we can get by. We can do things ourselves. Like in Rockport, we still have to take all of our own trash to the dump, right? And we live with that. And the issue with the dump stickers is huge. And the whole thing is pay as you throw and all of that. That's been a giant thing, right? But we've always had to do everything ourselves. And we do that in favor of being kind of an independent community and having a relatively low tax rate and all of this other stuff, right? So we have other needs. We've chosen to emphasize like the arts in Rockport. We support it privately and publicly, and we also support our school system. Those are part of the values of the town, and that's where we want our tax base to go. And unfortunately, I think the Board of Selectmen and town government has gone along with this tide of ever-growing bureaucracy in the country, right? So if you don't have all these management layers between people in town government and some of the functions of town government, then they're not satisfied with it, or they seem like they're behind the times or something. But I think this is a sign that Rockport completely rejects that notion that we can do things very well. We've had a volunteer fire department. I think it's like 80 years, I saw somebody say, I don't know exactly, but that organism has served Rockporters well for generations, right? And we're not about to go change something that will also incur spending a lot of our tax money into something that just happens to be maybe a negative development across the country or a generational change, right? We want to keep things being done the way we like.
Well, John, to that point, I wonder what the reaction is to hiring a third person party to audit the fire department.
Yeah. So I think the good side of that third person is that it's somebody without a dog in the fight, hopefully, and somebody who would be professionally objective about what they find. My only observation to that is that there's probably a lot of these firms that are around to I don't know, potentially rubber stamp, a town government's desire with an appearance of fairness. And there's probably lots of firms like that you can hire and have a track record of coming back with things that are favorable for the status quo or whatever the town leadership wants to do. So I think picking that firm would be really important. And there's a counter argument that says that we can probably sort this out ourselves. And I appreciate that, but I think the problem here specifically is that this is some karma that's been coming from other events in the past, including how the current chief of police was chosen, which I agree with the process, but there were some hurt feelings around town from people in the police department. And I think we're actually dealing with some of that karmic energy right now.
Interesting stuff. It's a big story. There's a lot of layers to it. So we're looking forward to chatting with you next week this time, if we can set something up here. I know that we have the holiday on the way, but yeah, let's keep the discussion alive.
That's awesome. And I want to throw in one more thing here,
Yeah.
which I think is a good development for the town, which is that Paul Franklin has actually tossed his hat in the ring for the upcoming Board of Selectmen election next May. So I think he would be a great addition and a breath of fresh air to change. So anyway.
Noted. All right, man. Well, have a great Thanksgiving if we don't talk to you. If not, we'll talk off camera and set up the next interview here.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
All right, check out Rockport stuff, folks. We'll see you, John.